Good evening, everybody. This is the Groseal Township Board of Trustees study session. The topic this evening is discussion of whether we should hire a bridge engineer as a consultant. Mike, since you wanted this discussed, I'm going to turn it over to you to present to us why you think we should.
Okay.
And we'll go from there. Go
Well,
ahead, Mike.
Thanks, Jim, and thanks everybody for being here. Having lived on this island for off and on for 40 plus years, I think the one thing we've always struggled with as a community is the bridge, and whether it's up or down. We obviously, when myself and a number of other people on Groseal 2020 ran for office, the bridge was our number one priority, and getting it fixed and having a long-term solution in addition to the roads. But when it came to priorities, nothing was really second to the bridge. And I don't think that's really changed. I mean, obviously COVID's way up there, but that's kind of in a class of its own. So the situation we're in, and I'm not going to read this whole document. Has everybody kind of read the information, at least the proposal part? It's a 2-page document. I wouldn't expect everybody to read, the 50 plus pages on some of the reports, but did everybody at least read the document?
I read it all.
Okay. Joe, Jameson, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I'm not going to read it line by line, but really this is a proposal to put ourselves in a position to be proactive versus reactive when it comes to ensuring that the Free Bridge remains safe and open to serve our community. Okay. Historically, I'll turn to the historical page. A lot of information there, but bridge, the vehicle bridge is about 90 years old. Okay. The foundation, or the original foundations, 6 of the 11 were 148 years old, and dating back for a very long period of time, there's been hardly any maintenance done on those piers / foundations. And all the recent reports, probably dating back to 2003, have identified issues with the piers foundations that have progressively gotten worse. And so as recent as the June report from Great Lakes Engineering, which is really not part of the package, but you've all probably seen it before, it identifies all of the 6 of the original piers pretty much being in like dire shape. Okay, something needs to be done, I think, within 6 months, and that was 7 months ago. Okay, and then it went on, which was kind of new, and it went on to describe the newer piers that are not resting on the original foundations that are over 100 years old, 148 years old. They were identified as being in fair to poor condition for the first time. Okay, so things have progressively gotten worse with them. In March, there's a report out there identifying various fixes that the county could utilize to fix the bridge for a long period of time. Okay, 30 plus years, or at least 30 years is what I've heard recently. The issue is it doesn't identify the 5 piers that are now in fair to poor condition. that are the newer piers that are sitting on bedrock, okay? It doesn't identify the superstructure, the painting of the superstructure that hasn't been done in 42 years. And that is increasingly becoming a problem. They have replaced some steel, but the bridge hasn't been coated in 42 years. Now, having a home across the bridge, the Mackinac Bridge, I can assure you that coating bridges, if you're interested in longevity, are a pretty important aspect of maintenance. In fact, probably 4 out of 5 times when I cross that bridge, there's some type of painting going on, coating going on to maintain the steel so it doesn't rust, so it doesn't lose its integrity in terms of strength, okay? There are just a whole bunch of tentacles, none of which I'm an expert on, and I don't think none of which anybody involved in this meeting is an expert on. However, in the past, we've relied on Wayne County to be our expert, and we kind of crossed our fingers and hope they knew what they were doing and telling the truth, or had an accurate understanding of repairs. We know that in 2007, they fixed the bridge. Prior to doing that, in 2006, they gave a presentation to Groseal, to the board and to manage professional management, and indicated that if we lived through this fix, that we would get 30 good years out of it. And 10 years later, they shut it down for about 8 months, right? And here we kind of go again. We got some real major repairs that need to be done. Certain elements of the repairs that need to be looked after may be addressed. Others may not be. I don't know how significant that is. I'm not a bridge engineer, but I know this is costing island residents about $18,000 a day, and that's just punitive costs in terms of crossing the toll bridge, where ordinarily they wouldn't. I adjusted those numbers for the 25% that always use the toll bridge no matter what. That's $6.5 million a year. This is a major problem, not just for the residents, but it's a problem for the school system. I mean, we're a school of choice, and how many people are going to choose our schools? And what does that do to the funding of the schools? Because this bridge isn't repaired. It's not good for Macomb Street. Certain businesses are suffering tremendously because the bridge isn't open. So this could go on and on. I think everybody kind of understands the history. So what I'm simply proposing here is that we go out and get our own expert. We do nothing to slow down the work that's being done with Wayne County to fix the bridge and repair it, and hopefully it's for 30 years. But all I'm suggesting is that whatever they provide us as a fix and the maintenance schedules that go along with that, and the commitment as to how long that fix is going to last based upon, again, proposed maintenance schedules, that we just don't take their word for it. We get our own expert that's unbiased, and we listen to that unbiased expert that works for us, who has not worked for Wayne County or doesn't plan to. And they help us position ourselves so that if we need to challenge Wayne County on any aspects of the proposed fix or any aspects of the proposed maintenance so that it lasts for 20 years or 30 years or 15, whatever it may be, that we can be proactive. Now, I'm looking at an amount of about $25,000. I thought it would come from the road fund. I'm not an expert at this. I've talked to Derek. He says it may have to come from the general fund. I will leave that up to the professional managers to determine which fund it should come from. But that's about the equivalent to what it's costing the residents of Groseal for one day. And by the way, those are conservative numbers I just rattled off, because that's wintertime numbers where traffic is usually less. We also have this thing called COVID, where a lot of people are working virtually that would be crossing the bridge, don't have to. But what happens if we ever get beyond this? Be a great problem to have, I guess, if we do get beyond it. But so that's where I'm coming from. There's a lot of benefits. They're in the proposal. If anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns about that. But at a high level, I'm just talking about, I'm proposing that we get our own expert to best position us to look out, for the safety and the transportation needs of our residents and everybody else that's impacted.
Comments?
Hey, Brian, would you let me in on my phone, please? Second login.
Mr. Supervisor, I have a comment whenever you guys are set.
Go ahead, Joe.
Sure? Oh, I was waiting for Jameson. Okay. Mike got into the intricate parts of this, obviously, and let me just ask Dale, I got a question first. Is it an RFQ, Dale, or a P for an engineer? Is it P or Q that you'd go out for?
It's kind of a difference without a distinction. Qualification is the Q,
right?
And the P is proposal. It's proposal for services.
It's one or the other, right?
It's whatever you're asking for is what you call is what you do. So in this instance, because we're looking for professional services, I would say qualification would probably be the best title for it. Okay.
Well, what I was looking at, just at a little different angle, is that you have to protect your investment. There's nothing bigger right now that we're going through on this bridge. And Derek, I know people want their toilets flushed. I know they want police protection. They want fire protection. And I'm not, believe me, nothing against those three areas, but it is definitely the most important thing we have ever gone through. And how do we protect our investment? Now, it has been said in the past that some of the people on Groseal and maybe some of the board members weren't happy with some of the information we were getting in the past, and then I'm talking about a couple of years, or that Wayne County may have not given us correct information, and how do we figure this out? Well, Mike said something very important. I surely didn't learn any of this at any of the FBI Academy schools I went to or the police academy itself. I'm not an engineer. I have traffic engineering background. I have nothing to, I don't have a clue about the bridge. But that's why this group should go out there and get the smartest person for our behalf to protect our investment, because what if later down the line, things are going to happen. Maybe Wayne County isn't going to fix it the way, I'm just saying, not that this will occur, but what if they are going to do something that may not be in the best interest of us in the long term? So we need an expert. I'm in agreement with this. And I know there's a cost to it, but again, you need to protect your investment on Groseal. It's like anything else you have. Why do we keep up the water and sewer plant? It's very expensive. Why do we, the police department well, I guess besides the DPS, but probably spends the most money within the township, but it's about protection. And I just feel that this would be a way, at least get the RFQs, see what the cost of an engineer would be. You balance that. And because the people of Groseal, this is the number one thing on their mind, and they put 7 of us in a position right now to protect them and to make decisions for them. And I just think it'd be the prudent thing to do. Thanks.
Thanks, Joe.
Jim?
David?
I know a couple of things I'd like to bring up. One, the $25,000 estimated cost, certainly based on my reading of that fund and where it gets funded or what it gets funded for, this kind of a cost cannot be paid out of that fund. So that means it has to come out of the general fund. My other comment is just some rough calculations on what I believe are fair prices for the kind of engineer that Mike's proposing. For $25,000, you might get 100 to 120 hours for that $25,000. I think the cost of bringing in an engineer would have to almost certainly come from out of state. You're probably looking at 50 or 60,000 or more. I don't think we get anything for $25,000. And the other thing is, within Wayne County, the people that are handling the bridge within Wayne County and from MDOT are not the same crew that was there in 03 or 06 or 07. It's a whole new game down there. And Wayne County, based on the meetings that I've been involved in, they've made this priority one. We have the same assurances from MDOT that they're overseeing this. And I'm not sure what we get if you go forward with hiring a structural engineer. I don't know what we get at the end. We certainly can't go to Wayne County and say you're doing it all wrong. I don't think that would be prudent by any stretch. So I don't really see what we get at the end. Those are my comments.
So let me respond to that. 25 is kind of a low number. It could be called 100,000. I don't know. You won't know until we look into it and send out an RFP or RFQ. But if you look at what we're asking them to do, is spend some hours on historical information, reports, inspections, and things like that to understand, okay? And then really for them to give us their professional opinion as to, at least initially, not to ask them, Wayne County, to change anything, not to slow down their fix, but when they come back like they have in the past, okay, and they say to us that this is a 30-year fix, okay, I think it would serve the residents of Groseal extremely well worth the $25,000 or $50,000. But we'll start with 25, see what happens, and if we have to go back, then we can go back. But I've talked to a few people that have some experience in this area, okay, with bridge consultants, engineers, and they both kind of felt that was a reasonable number. We call 50, so okay, so it's 2 days, it's about $4, whatever, a resident, I mean, it's money well spent, Dave. I don't think we can take the number one challenge that we have here on Groseal is this bridge, the thing that affects all of our property values, impacts our schools. Some people are having a real problem with this. Some people are paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month. I've heard numbers as high as 400 because it's such an inconvenience. Okay. I don't think we can put blind faith in Wayne County or Michigan, the state of Michigan. And I've attended those meetings. I don't know if I heard MDOT make any assurances other than they would look at it. And so, I think we would be serving the island population extremely well. I've seen us spend $150,000, $175,000 fighting legal battles I didn't think we should have ever gotten into. And they were far less important to me personally as a resident and everybody I've ever talked to. But this money is real. We're looking at $6.5 million, and that's a conservative number that it's costing islanders punitively a year, because those are winter months where there's less traffic. We got COVID. We got people working virtually. You're telling me we can't come up with $50,000 so that we're not just wondering what's going to happen when the next surprise is going to be? Is if they say 30 years, is it going to be 10 years like last time? You know, I think that money be well served. I don't think, unless you have an engineering degree or somebody on this board or that works here as a specialist in bridges and can look at the impact of the neglect of the 11 piers and how significant that is, and the proposal to fix it. And by the way, maybe 5 of those 11s aren't even going to be touched. And we got reports going back as far as 2002 saying that they have damage and they have issues and it's progressively getting worse. I don't know. I sure the hell don't want that responsibility. I want an engineer whose reputation and business is on the line, who's a professional engineer, saying that's a 30-year fix. I'm going to sleep a heck of a lot better. And I think a lot of islanders will too. If they come back and say it's a 20-year fix and Wayne County's insisting that it's a 30, then we got some work to do. But I want to start it now. I don't want to wait to year 20 when it breaks, or year 10 when it breaks, and year 5 when it breaks, and all of a sudden the bridge shut down for 9 months. So that's where I'm at.
So
Mike, go ahead. Jameson, was that you? Go ahead.
It's me there, Mr. Supervisor. So I would just bring up a couple points. If you asked Islanders, you know, hey, you guys want to spend $50,000 repaving the bike path? A lot of people are going to tell you yes. A lot of people are going to tell you no. If you ask them, hey, are you guys cool with us spending $80,000 on a new fire engine? A lot of them are going to tell you yes. A lot of them are going to tell you no. But I bet you if you ask Islanders, are you good with us spending $50,000 on a bridge engineer? You're going to get a whole lot of yeses. I mean, I bought a house, I bought cars, I bought used cars, and during none of those transactions, because they're major transactions, did I fail to get an inspection, right? I'm going to go buy a used car, I'm going to get an inspection. I go buy a house, I'm going to get an inspection. It doesn't mean I don't trust my realtor. It just means I'm trying to protect myself. And I think with our bridge, having not an inspection, but a bridge engineer review the work gives us at least a little bit of leverage to be able to go to Wayne County and be like, hey, you know, we're seeing your numbers here, and this is what our engineer is saying, so let's see what the difference is here to figure out what's going on. That'll give us the ability to at least check their work, like the old Russian proverb, trust but verify. So I agree with Mike. I think it's a worthwhile investment. I mean, this township's probably spent money on more frivolous things than a bridge engineer during a major bridge failure during a pandemic. So that's my thoughts. Thanks, Mr. Supervisor.
Jim, you're muted.
I see we have Carl with us. Well, there he is. Yeah. Any other comments? I guess Carl, did you have a comment?
Jim, I have spoken to 3 different engineers on this. I read through the study materials that Mike did. I want to start by saying, Mike, good job. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to have read through all of the options and to see what they are. We do not have a contract or anything that's been signed between Wayne County and the bridge company that ultimately is going to be doing the work. The issue appears to me to be one of information. Are we getting information? Is this the same old Wayne County stuff that we've dealt with so many times before, where we've been previously told one thing and we have something new? I view the current administration in Wayne County, particularly with what Ms. Watts has been attempting to provide, as good. I was disturbed by the fact that we were all led to believe the bridge would open in November, and then a brief period of time before the scheduled opening date, we wind up with a phone call that says, hey, Mr. Supervisor, there's been a change in plans, but I understand that did not come from a change in what Wayne County was doing, or that Wayne County was not telling us what they knew, but that was because of an updated advanced study that was supposed to have been done in December. And instead of doing it in December, the contractor opened it up early so that they could have better weather and better conditions. And that's when they said, hey, things are falling apart here a lot faster than what we thought. I was concerned about the lack of information. And frankly, I think, Mike, the material that you provided shows the different options. I don't know that we can go ahead and do with anything with Wayne County until we understand what Wayne County's engineer, that is the third party that they have, is contemplating doing. They made a recommendation on proposal A, which is a buckle. Proposal B was doing the mini piers, if you will, drilling down. And then proposal C was deemed to be the least worst, or the worst of the possibilities. I think that we have to look at what Wayne County signs before we can go forward with any kind of movement on a corrective action plan. I look at what engineers cost, and I think $25,000 is probably very light if we're using $300 an hour as a number, and I don't know who we're going to have or what their contacts are going to be. But one of the concerns has to be, what is the information that we're getting from Wayne County? And Jim, you've been doing this for a very long time. And when I see what they have produced with this report, I think we're premature in terms of trying to hire a engineer. We're going to tell him or her that this is what we want you to do to go in and follow Wayne County. Well, we're going to have to do some FOIAs. And some of those FOIAs are going to be denied because, as is typical, as I understand within the industry, that some of this stuff is based on security. And they're not going to want to lay out all the plans for the bridge. That's just what I was told by an engineer with a company that does this on a worldwide basis. I think until we get the contract from Wayne County, what they proposed and how they propose to pay for it, then we can do that. But right now, I don't see where we have an ability to go into the game with no money and without an ability to say, gee, you know, this doesn't make any sense with what you proposed, because we don't know what they're proposing. I think too soon. I think it's too early. Now, I don't disagree that we need to have information, but Jim, everything I'm learning from the engineers and from what you have said and Wayne County has been producing, that this makes sense. And this, the options, the study that was done, all of that seems to make sense. The last thing I want to do is be on the storming the ramparts, if we use that term, going down to Wayne County, beating on the door of Bev Watts and trying to pound somebody into submission when we don't have a penny to put into the program. And what we do,
Carl, have you read
listen to them.
Have you read the proposal? I'm sorry. I think you said you did, right?
I read everything, Mike, that you sent out. Okay.
So basically what I've said is that this is in no way, shape, or form, and I'm paraphrasing, that we want to stop any of the good progress. And I've been included in those meetings. I think they've been very constructive meetings, okay? But no way, shape, or form do we want to interfere with that. In fact, this engineer's our engineer. That person wouldn't even be at those meetings. But the idea is for us to proactively be positioned, have an engineer in place. If you read what we want that engineer to do, they can immediately start looking at all the past inspections, okay, that have been done over the years, of the condition of the bridge, to some of the proposals, to read it. There's a few hours there. I get it, you know, and but we don't want to wait and do it sequentially. Why not get prepared as early as we can? Again, not proposing that we interfere with any of the progress that's being made, but when they do come to a proposal, we're not paying for it, so they have all the leverage. We say have at it, go ahead and do it, don't interfere, because we can't say anything right now, and I don't plan on saying anything that at the point when your contract is signed. But once it's signed and the work begins. That's where we have to be in a position to say, hey guys, we went out, great process. Thank you for, stepping up and doing what you're doing to fix this bridge. And you claim it's a 30-year repair, maybe a 20-year repair. Gee whiz, we hope it lasts that long. We got our consultant, and then depending upon what our consultant does, we take all appropriate action, because that bridge is really important to every single resident on this island. And
Mike,
that's all I'm saying. We don't rely on Wayne County, what they tell us. We don't rely on anyone. We have our own expert inform us, and having that information from a professional, don't you agree, Carl, that positions us better if we do have an issue?
My question is, when you say all appropriate action,
well, that's yet to be determined.
Appropriate action mean when we have no money we're bringing to the table?
That's, well, whatever we can think of, I mean, it can mean a lot of things. I rather not go out there and say, make statements of things that we're going to do, but we'll have some real smart people tell us what our actions are, what we can do.
Are you talking about suing Wayne County?
I'm not talking about that.
I mean, I think you're kind of like extrapolating to the extreme here, Carl. We just want to hire an engineer or retain an engineer even, so that we can understand what's going on and so that we can make good decisions. We're not saying, here's our 10-point plan to beat the heck out of Wayne County if they lie to us. That's what you're saying.
No.
We're just asking to be informed better.
No, I haven't said that. To me, the issue is information. Are we getting information from Wayne County that's accurate?
And that's what an engineer could tell us.
We've got a study right now that says these are the options.
Yeah. What do they mean?
Is the engineer going to tell us? Is the engineer going to tell us that another engineer is flat out crazy or doesn't know what they're doing? This isn't coming from Wayne County. This is coming from a third party.
Engineer working for Wayne County.
Engineer under contract.
Yeah, working for Wayne County.
That's right. Just like the engineer and the contractor that's going to do the work, they're going to be working for Wayne County.
But you take
Does that mean that they're going? What I'm missing on this, Mike, is the benefit to us. What you're talking about? We'll be in a better position. A better position to what?
Well, let's just take a scenario. If they come to us with another 30-year fix,
all right,
we say, God bless it. Are you telling me, Jim, if you had, as the supervisor of this community, as the supervisor, as our leader, right, elected official, if you're saying this, I have a problem with it, but if you're saying that if we have the benefit versus not having the benefit, if we have a professional engineer that says, guys, that fix that they're proposing, and let them go with it, it's not going to last 30 years. It's only going to last 10 years. Now, let them go on unimpeded and fix the bridge. But I think if I were sitting in your position, okay, and I had a professional that I had faith in, then I would start looking for ways to challenge them to maybe do the additional maintenance that it would require to make it a 30-year fix. But if I didn't know that, because all I relied on is what they told me,
you realize it's the engineers that are telling you.
I'd be sitting on my hands waiting for the next disaster.
Well,
this is $4 a resident. How can it not help?
I guess listening to what you're saying, you don't trust Wayne County because you think Wayne County is making these fixes. They're not. They're hiring outside professional engineering professional engineers to do this. It's professional engineers, an outside company that said, shut the bridge down because they did their inspection early. It's professional people that are looking into this and they're going to contract with. Wayne County isn't making these fixes. Professional contractor is, who does this, a national firm. They're not going to put themselves in jeopardy by saying, hey, we're going to do a 10-year fix, but we'll call it 30.
Well, Jim, have you read anything about the 5-year, or about the 5 piers that are in fair to poor condition? And do you have an opinion what that means in longevity? And I, quite frankly, haven't read anything that addresses that.
No,
I'm not a paint expert or coating expert, but I know a chemical engineer that specializes in that, okay, real well. And if bridges aren't properly coated and things like that, they deteriorate at a very rapid pace. And that hasn't been addressed in any of these things that I've read.
Well, wait a minute. That has been addressed in our meetings.
Yeah.
And as Wayne County people have told us, once this fix is done, they will continue to repair and fix through the 20 years or 30 years or whatever it is, because that's what you have to do. One of the best examples of doing that is the toll bridge. Mr. Smoke works on that bridge all the time. That's why it's lasted so long.
Of course.
You're absolutely right. And if we didn't see him doing that, we'd be questioning them. But number one, from everything I'm seeing, we don't have that money lying around to do it.
Well, you know what? I think we need to find a way to get that money. And I think we at least owe it to the community, who's paying $6.5 million a year in punitive charge. And that's conservative.
Why are you calling it punitive charge?
Well, because the bridge is down.
They have to get off, they have to use a bridge, they're using the toll bridge.
It would be free if the bridge was working.
Jim, your mic is not working.
It's when you turn away from the screen there, Jim.
Your mic wasn't working.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's ask Uta, do you have an opinion on this? Because
Uta.
I got a feeling what's happening here, Jim, and I just want to make sure that I understand completely.
You have a feeling.
Uta, do you have an opinion on this? Do you think it's worth spending $4 a residence?
So I've been listening to you and Jim, and I read the materials that you gave us. As you know, I've been on the board for quite a while and have gone through a number of county administrations as well as township administrations. If I read the first paragraph of your proposal correctly, it sounds to me like you want to hire an engineer to educate us as board members about what we're looking at in terms of these plans. And that is really the only thing I can imagine that this engineer could do for us, because again, we don't own the bridge. We are not paying for the repairs of the bridge. We don't necessarily even have a guarantee that we can give this engineer access to the most recent plans that the county has.
I think we can find those.
I used to work for an engineering firm called NTH Consultants. They wouldn't touch a project like this for under $200 to $300 an hour. And on top of that, they were always very hesitant to take on a project that was critical of the work of another engineer, in particular of another engineer that represents a county for whom they also want to get contracts and work. So like David said, you know, at the best, you're looking at somebody from out of state who is not necessarily interested in procuring work from Wayne County or the Michigan Department of Transportation. And the paragraph here where it says, in addition, a well-qualified contractor shall not have a perceived conflict of interest created by ongoing anticipated performance of work for Wayne County. when you're talking about bridges, there are precious few experts who are going to forego work for a county or a Michigan Department of Transportation for a $25,000 advice contract to a township. But I get the sentiment of it. We feel vulnerable. I think in one of your paragraphs, you say we've been too deferential to the county. Again, our problem being that we don't own this particular asset, and we have a very strong interest in the maintenance and condition of that asset, but we don't own it. We don't have the money to own it or to take care of it. So of course we all feel vulnerable on the island. And you know, some of us have gone through more than one of these closings that have been longer than a year. And yeah, it doesn't feel good to have to take the toll bridge twice a day. I'm one of the people who has to leave, you know, to work. And so, yeah, I'm going over twice a day. I think my big question is, you know, the bottom line is, you know, if push comes to shove and the engineer we hire disagrees with the engineers that the county hired, what's going to come of it? What options do we have at that stage that that give us any kind of control? We have a supervisor,
we can
have a director of public works, Derek. We have our township manager all attending these meetings. We have access to a civil engineering firm, you know, that can advise. I think what you're doing is asking for a specific bridge engineer to advise, but I just don't think that that is going to be worth what we're paying for it.
Yeah.
So I'll just pitch in here one last time. I pay about $200 a month for the bridge to cross it, go to work. Jade goes places. That's $2,400 a year. And back in December, Jade brought some bridge tokens over to a local resident who literally cried on their porch when she handed the bridge tokens to that other person. I mean, people are upset. They're hurting. They're asking us to do something about it. It's like the biggest talk on the whole island is, what is the township board doing about the bridge? And they know we don't own it. I know we don't own it. We're stakeholders, but we don't have the financial means to own it. But at least we can try to hold Wayne County accountable. We can try, if the engineers don't agree and there's a discrepancy, we can at least ask them about it. At least we have some ammunition to bring to the table to try to influence their decision making and improve our little piece of the pie.
Well, I was just going to say, Jameson, that what we're doing right now by me being able to get us to the table to have these weekly talks with them is the right step to do. We weren't having any talks. We were waiting for them to contact us. Now we're having the discussions every week. When they picked their contractor to do this work, their contractor will be part of these meetings every week. We will be getting the information that we need. Again, I don't see that we have, I don't believe we have the money, number one, but more importantly, we are doing something. I know the people out there, it's different. They don't like it. It might be the first time they've gone through a shutdown of one of the bridges. I've gone through in my lifetime, as it would have said, 3, maybe 4, and it is a pain. It absolutely is an inconvenience. If you're not used to using the toll bridge, it is an increased cost. Yes, it is. But we're doing everything. I believe we're doing everything we can right now, and to spend more money to take it out of somebody's department. Is it going to come out of the police department? Are we going to take it out of their budget? Are we going to take it out of fire? Are we going to take it out of DPS? somebody's gonna hurt. We don't
Let me
have.
ask you a question.
We don't have money.
That would come. Jim, that would come out of the general fund. What do you mean? We have $2 million. I was told in the general fund. This is what the slush fund is for: is emergencies and issues that we have to do.
And this is not. I don't see. Okay.
Okay, you don't see it. Let me explain something. No one on this board has any idea of bridge engineering, bridge construction. I don't care what meetings you've gone to. I'm just saying that to protect us, because of what Wayne County did to us before, none of us, I mean, you can say whatever you want. You can go, and I thank you for going to these meetings. I thank you for starting up dialogue with Wayne County. Do I trust Wayne County? No, I don't trust Wayne County, because they're the greatest predictor of future performance in an entity or human being is their past performance, period.
Amen.
And what they have done to us in the past concerns me. This is a way to protect us. And we have money set aside for emergencies, slush funds, problems, anything like that. And to us, at least I hear, and I haven't even talked to these gentlemen before we got on this meeting tonight, but it sounds like that at least some of us don't have a problem spending some of this money to protect the people of Grosse Ile. And that's what concerns me is, you know, you can talk all you want about the engineering, but you have to take what they tell you, because we don't know the answer.
And we'd be taking what if we hired somebody, we would be taking their word.
And they're unbiased, Jim. They're unbiased. They're out of state.
Why are they unbiased? We're paying them. I got a list
of 4 engineers that don't do work for Wayne County right now that specialize in bridges. That's a starting point. Hey, it's $10. If let's say it costs $100,000, that's $10 per resident. Okay, for peace of mind. Look at Jim. We had blind. Can I finish? We had blind faith in Wayne County, right? In 2007, you know what the report said? The engineering report said, or inspections, that we, because of the condition of the piers, we have to increase the cadence to every 3 years to do an underwater inspection. So you know how often that happened over the course of the next 10 years?
They didn't follow it.
It didn't. And if we had an engineer, we would know that. And we could say, Wayne County, what about that inspection? Okay? If we had people paying attention and knew how to pay attention, and we were on top of this and proactive instead of reactive. We're not talking about a little inconvenience here. We got some people on Grosse Ile that are really hurting. None of them are probably sitting at this table or on this conference. We got people that are crying for help. And you know what? I don't want to come back to them with the response that, hey, our help is we got blind faith in Wayne County. We got blind faith in Wayne County. And don't tell me about the cost of engineers, because quite frankly, I've had many of them working with me and for me on much bigger projects than this. I have a feel for their costs. Okay. You can get a hell of a lot for probably, you can get a great start with 25, and they can say to you, you know what, guys, to really do this, it's going to cost us $100. And you know what? That'll be $10 per resident. I don't know too many residents are going to say no, Jim.
Well, Mike, go ahead, Uda. Go ahead, Uda.
Thank you, Jim. You know, I don't think this is because we don't think people aren't hurting or are hurting. To be honest, this hurts me too. I can't, you know, it's not like money grows on our trees that we have to keep, you know, paying for this bridge. So don't paint this board as a body that doesn't care about what's going on. I frankly don't think spending this money is going to buy you what you think it's going to buy you. And going to the county and saying, well, our engineer says this isn't going to work. The bottom line is, unless we can work with the county and get the county to work with us, and it's about the county trusting us, not the other way around. If we offend the county, I don't have any doubt that, you know, you say, oh, the inspections haven't been done. Well, the county in the past has said, so what? Right? And they can do that after we spend $25,000. They can do that after we spend $50,000. But right now we've got 3 seats at the table pushing progress, and it's not blind faith, trust me. And it was hard-won seats at the table to build this relationship, to build this trust between the 2 entities. And so I just don't think your 25 or 50 grand or 100 grand are going to buy you what you think they're going to buy you. And I think we can do the same without spending that money for an engineer.
How do we do that?
Quite frankly, we've had big projects before where we found that engineering firms were not willing to discuss their feelings about projects by other engineering firms.
So we shouldn't try?
We paid the price for that. So
I
just think this would be a waste because it won't get you what you think you want.
How do we know what a bridge engineer can do for us when no one's ever sat down with them actually? I know we've talked to some, but no one sat down and interviewed them in this RFQ. So when they come in, we tell them what we want, just like anything else that you do when you get a consultant or a service even. How about let's call it a service? I mean, I can't believe people on the board are saying that they know what they can get and what they can't get from Wayne County. The problem is we were duped by Wayne County.
You guys want to keep going back instead of going forward. Carl had something to say. Carl, unmute yourself.
Carl, you're on mute. Unmute, Carl.
I think he's trying. Oh, there he goes.
This thing. I look forward to when we can all get together in the same room.
Yes.
One of the things that.
Hey, Carl, I'm going to ask you to do it quickly because we're late for our meeting, so we have to wrap this up.
One of the things that's important to me is this is not happening in a vacuum. We're on the National Bridge Inventory. We have MDOT and we have the Code of Federal Regulations that are all involved in overseeing and having this done properly. The engineer that Wayne County had before that was doing drive-by inspections wasn't doing inspections. You had Flint water as an issue. We have national standards and we have MDOT involved in this. This isn't just Groseal, it's not just Wayne County, and it's not an engineer that we don't have. They have to apply and have been using national and state standards. And I think that gives us a degree of insurance as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Ryan Friel. Ryan?
He's on mute too.
He's probably out of the room. Ryan.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. What do we do to shut this down and get into the?
So basically, you are already in the meeting link, and you are live, so you can just start the meeting. I'll start letting the public in from the waiting room.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody.
Unless you want to take a 10-minute break or anything.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
it's up
let's
to you.
take at least a 5-minute break here.
Okay.
I just thank everybody because it's good that everybody can get their views out and say what they want to say. Mike, I thank you for bringing it to our attention. I think it kind of, the reading I got was, do we do it now or do we do it when we feel we need to do it? Some feel it's right now that we have to, some feel that it isn't right now. And that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion on something. So thanks a lot for bringing this to us and in a study session form. And we'll take 5 minutes. Brian Friel, we'll take 5 minutes and then we'll start our regular meeting.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, thanks, guys.
Ready? Live.
You're live.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Groseal Township Board's business meeting. It's Monday, the 25th, and we're a little late. We had a lively study session concerning discussion of hiring a bridge engineer. We'll start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Additions and deletions. I'm going to start. I have a deletion. I would move that we delete scheduled closed session for tonight.
Support.
Thank you. It's being deleted because our primary attorney could not be with us tonight. It will be on our next meeting. I've been assured that he'll be able to attend that. So that is the reasoning behind it. Any questions? Not hearing any? All in favor of deleting the closed session, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Hear none? That is completed. And so our closed session is removed from the agenda. Anything else?
Yes. I would like to propose that we,
Who is that?
it's Mike Drake.
Oh, Mike. Okay, yeah, your video's off.
You don't recognize the voice, Jim?
I didn't. I'm looking at all these blank screens up here and I did. Well, who's talking? All right, go ahead, Mike.
You probably haven't heard that voice in a while.
No,
huh?
I haven't. It was completely new to me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I propose that we add a motion to approve the hire of a bridge engineer to assist the township in evaluating future major repairs to the existing Wayne County Bridge, maintenance schedules, along with corresponding commitments from Wayne County. This is not to be done to challenge anything.
Mike, this is just the addition of it. It's not the discussion of it. So
Okay, fair enough.
So your motion is to,
Yes.
okay.
second it.
Okay. If I think the board has been pretty much educated on why Mike is making this motion. Is there any other discussion on why that's needed as far as the addition? Hearing none. I'm gonna call for a roll call vote on this because I'm thinking it's not gonna be unanimous, but maybe I'll be wrong. So with that in mind, Mike, I'm going to start with you.
Yay.
Okay. Jameson?
Did we lose him?
Jameson?
I don't see him on here.
I see him.
Sorry, I was muted.
Yes.
Yay.
Yay for Jameson. Okay. Carl?
No.
David?
Nay.
Uta?
Too soon? Nay.
Joe?
Yes.
And I agree. For a number of reasons, I don't think this is the right time, so I also vote nay. So if my math is correct, it will not be added by a 4-3 nay vote. All right. Any other additions or deletions? Not hearing any. I would move for the approval of the agenda as amended.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay, just let me make a note here, please. Okay. All right. Public comment. This is anything on the agenda. It's not limited to action items. It's anything on the agenda. 3 minutes. Please state your name and address before you start speaking. And we will open it up. Ryan, I'll let you.
Yes. Do we have anyone who would like to make some comment? Just turn on your video, give me a wave. Oh, okay. There we go. We've got
there.
Bill Heil. You are up
Bill,
first.
you got your bird.
Yes, it's better because it's quieter that way. I'm not sure how much dignity it has. I'm hoping that on this item with the consultant, that you find a way to talk about this further in the future. I observed the study session, and I don't believe that everybody understands each other and what is going on there. It's a question of whether we gather the information, when we gather the information, and how we use it. The people who propose it, I believe, are proposing a different way of using it than the people who oppose this fear. And I don't think that anybody's getting through to one another. I'm done for now. That was my reason for bringing that up. I would like you to just make a mark in your mind and consider it more.
Thank you, Bill. And I think it should be discussed.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay. Does anyone else have any public comments?
All right.
I'm not seeing any.
No.
Oh, hold on. Greg Karmazin.
Oh, okay.
Yep, Greg Karmazin. First of all, I just want to say
Greg, name and address, please.
Yeah, okay. So Greg Karmazin, taxpayer and homeowner at 21228 East River Road. All right. I just want to say that I applaud Mike Jarecki for bringing this issue about the bridge to the board for a study session. I think it is a complex issue. There are a lot of considerations, a lot of long history in this project that need to be considered. And I don't want to get into a long discussion of that because I know we only have a couple minutes here, but I do want to correct one issue that came up during the discussion. There was some representation made that the current Wayne County administration is not making or has not made the same mistakes as the previous one on the bridge. And I would just like to point out that this current administration is the same one that skipped a good portion of those underwater inspections that they didn't do between 2007 and 2017. Also, this current administration has been accused by Channel 7 News investigative reporter Heather Catallo of falsifying inspection reports. So to say that this current Wayne County administration merits the type of faith that I think some want to put in them, I would say that I think we have to be cautious about that. We have to not get in a confrontation with them, but we have to be educated. The township needs to understand what it means when these inspections are done or not done, or what the plans are mean when they're proposed. And I would say, having looked at the inspections and having looked at the plans that are available to date, there are quite a few questions that the township could be raising if they were educated enough to raise them. So I would hope that the board reconsiders this proposal at a future meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Okay, do we have anyone else who would like to give some public comment tonight? Yep, Okay, Bob Zelasko, I see you over there. Unmute, Bob.
No, he sounds better that way. Bob, unmute. There you go.
Jim? Are we?
That's better. That's better.
Right.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself and.
Bob Zelasko, Blauvelt. Some comments were made that were a little disrupting on leaning towards not going ahead with this suggestion. One of them was it's too early. I'm sorry, but it's not too early. I've been looking at a bridge that's been down for over 8 months, so don't tell me it's too early to get involved. And we don't have any money to bring to the table. 4,500 plus residents have invested millions of dollars in properties out here, not to mention the annual tax dollars that we're paying. We already have our money at the table. The reason we're in this situation is because mistakes were repeatedly made, because there was no check and balance in the system. This engineering proposal that we're talking about will support and provide this check and balance, and will put us in a prevention mode that was commented by 2 of the trustees. I think that we should move forward with this. We shouldn't go through the same experience that we've already gone through. The administration, the characters are the same. Don't tell me MDOT wasn't involved in the project in 2007. They were. There's nothing different about the cast of characters here. We might have a new engineering firm that's been called in, but the cast of characters making the decisions are the same. We need to put some prevention in. We need to protect the people on this island. We too, even though we don't own this bridge, we have a voice. And in that voice, we need some engineering background. We need some engineering, backup. We need somebody that can speak at an engineering level. Give us advice. As it was said earlier, mistakes were made. We shouldn't even be in this situation. And here we are saying it's too early. I'm sorry, it's not too early. It's overdue. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, do we have any other public comment? I think you're good, Jim.
All right, with that, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Mr. Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I'd like to make a motion to approve consent agenda 20-068, which includes the minutes of the January 11th, 2021 regular board meeting, check registers dated through January 22, and the reappointment of the Township Board of Review members for fiscal years 2021 through 2023, and approval of the Community Development Block Grant Cooperative Agreement. And that's it.
Support. Any questions on the consent agenda? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? None. That passes. Thank you.
Hey, Jim, you just got to make sure when you turn away from your camera, you have no volume.
Yeah, it's all in one here. So when I go to make my note, I guess I'm putting my head down and it's not.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you for the consent agenda being passed. We have no action items, so we'll go to our reports. Madam Clerk.
Thank you very much, Mr. Supervisor. Very short report. The clerk's office is doing what it does, quietly but efficiently. But I did have a report from the Planning Commission. Our planning consultant, Brian Borden, informed Chair Schweikert and I that we might likely have a Planning Commission meeting in February or March as we move forward with the Pirates Cove plans. but nothing is yet 100% in order. And so we can't say for sure if that meeting will be held in March or in February. And that's it for the clerk's report today.
I don't know that I've ever heard you that quick. Thank you for that. David, treasurer's report.
Thank you. For the month of December, the township had a total of $17,195,000 invested in various accounts. These accounts generated a total of $871 in interest, with an average interest rate of 0.06%. And a breakdown of the investments are on the Treasurer's website at groseal.com. Groseal 2020 winter property tax bills are due February 16th. If you cannot pay your winter taxes by the due date, there is a deferment available for those who qualify. Approved deferment applications will defer the due date until April 30th, but the application must be submitted to the Treasurer's office by February 16th. Applications are available online at groseal.com. Reminder to those who have filed a summer tax deferment, those summer taxes are due by February 14th. To date, we have collected 61% of the winter tax rolls, and all distributions required to the county and the school district have been made timely. Good news here for pet owners. The 2021 pet license are available by contacting the Treasurer's office cashier at 734-676-4422, extension 222. The pet tag license fee will remain $6 for the remainder of 2021. It was scheduled to increase to $12 on February 1st, but that increase has been deferred. Be sure to provide a proof of current rabies vaccination and drop off your payment and your certificate in one of the 2 drop boxes. Licenses will be mailed to you. 2021 dog park applications can be printed out from the website. And again, you can complete the application and drop it with your payment of $10 in one of the drop boxes. Your pet must first be licensed in order to use the dog park if you are a Groseal resident. Non-residents may join the park for a fee of $20. And I have no report from the DPS Commission nor the Rec Commission.
All right, thank you. Trustees reports. Mr. Porcerelli.
Thank you, Jim. I sit on the Airport Commerce Park Commission, and we went to Island Athletics a few weeks ago to their grand opening, and that is in the tennis center. And I have to say, if you're on the line, they did a great job. They got a private individual in there, and they redid most of the entire inside. And the airport obviously put some money into it also. And it was impressive. They redid every place I went to, from the locker rooms, the courts were redone. There's a workout room there. There's a cycling room there. I mean, I was really impressed at what I saw, and it's quite a win-win for Groseal. We have somebody in there that's making a business go of it, and I just urge people to go down and take a look what they have. Their hours, I'm sorry I don't have them. They're on the website. It's Island Athletics. And once again, I just say that I was very impressed with what I saw. And that's it for my report.
Thank you, Joe. Jameson.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I sit on the Zoning Board of Appeals, which did not meet this month. So I have nothing significant to report, Mr. Supervisor.
Okay. Safe travels, young man.
Thank you.
Mr. Blacksher.
3 things, Mr. Supervisor, I sit on the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Commission. We're awaiting the results of our Ralph Wilson grant application to assist with the extension of the bike path along East River from Grow Road South. I also sit on the Greenways Open Space. We were having an issue with the Ferry Gauge Trail where there was a significant amount of damage and rutting to the trail at the gauge end. The DPS came down and filled that rutting area with an awful lot of gravel. It is now safe and for everybody to use, and that was a significant improvement. And the ditching that we had that was done on the east end or the south end of the trail, that is by Ferry Road, appears to be working. I've been back there a couple of times, and the trail is much better condition than it ever was. Both of those commissions are working on their budget for the 21-22 year. And finally, I want to take this time to publicly acknowledge and thank Jameson for his service and for the work that he's done in Washington, D.C. In the last week and a half. Thank you, Jameson.
Sorry, I was on mute. Thanks, Carl.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
You're all set, Carl?
That concludes my reports. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Jarecki.
Yes, I sit on the police commission. I'm their liaison. And few little numbers here to share for the month of December. Total incoming calls were 751 versus 878 last December, down 15%. Assault and batteries were even with prior year for the month at 2. Rescues at 39 versus 29 were up 35%. 911 calls were at 89 versus 76, up 17%. Vehicle traffic citations were 57 versus 69, up 17%. Verbal warnings were down, 98 versus 161. Arrests were up by 1, 7 versus 6. And deer crashes were down by 1, 7 versus 8, or 13%. From those numbers, I think what you can take from that is, although traffic has decreased a lot on the island since because of the bridge situation and COVID and people working virtually, the police team has still been very busy with, again, increases in rescues and 911 type related calls. So they're doing a very good job, and their hands are full. The deer call is on and going, and they're continuing to do well. And I think we'll see better results than what was achieved last year. And Brent and his team are doing a great job on that. And we'll know more final numbers in a few weeks. Still haven't had enough snow to do a count, but I think maybe we'll get lucky this week. Who knows? Or unlucky. Lucky.
All right.
So at the last commission meeting, the commission voted unanimously in favor of a new program, Hope, Not Handcuffs. The program essentially puts the department in a position where instead of handcuffing, so to speak, addicts that are in trouble and raise their hand, the individuals are assigned an angel. They're given care packages, and they determine a plan to help them actually deal with their addictions. And it's a very positive program for the community. As part of this program, the police officers will be trained in the use of Narcan, which will enable them to assist in opioid overdoses situation and really save lives. It reverses the impact of the overdose. It's a great program. They'll have that training. Keep in mind that, the majority of the time, they're the folks that are first on the scene. And it's a great program, and hopefully it'll be coming to Groseal within the next 60 days. So congratulations to the entire team involved with bringing this initiative forward. The other thing is probably within the next couple of weeks, we will be interviewing and bringing back to the board probably the next meeting in February 8th, I believe, is that the date? And with a recommendation for a new chief. Other than that, Jim, can I educate me here, because I'm a little ignorant when it comes to this whole program, but do I, as my report, can I talk a little bit about the bridge proposal that was turned down?
Sure.
Okay. So there was a study session. I know a lot of the community was not involved with that session. Basically covered, the history of the bridge. Everybody, I think most people know that the bridge is very old. The youngest part is 90 years old. That's when the 148-year-old railroad bridge was kind of converted to a vehicle bridge. Okay. We've had a lot of problems with the bridge. For those longtime residents, we've had many problems with the bridge over the years. And unfortunately, some of them have been surprises. Okay, back in 2006, the county came to us and said they were going to make a major repair to the bridge, and it was going to last 30 years. Well, it only lasted 10. Okay, then it was down for another 8 months. And now we find ourselves in a situation where there have been numerous reports that have been studies, inspections, where there's a lot of things wrong with the bridge. I mean, and the county again is close to presenting a fix for that they're paying for 100%. And who knows? Maybe we'll get very lucky, and that if they come back to us and say it's going to last for 30 years. I quite frankly will be surprised, but if it does. But I think more importantly, with that proposal that really got turned down to be on the agenda tonight, and we'll make the materials available. I'll make them available. The proposal got turned down tonight was simply to position us as a community, not to fight or challenge immediately whatever Wayne County proposes as a fix for the bridge, but simply to take us as a community and put us in a position to have our own expert, which we don't have right now, to interpret whatever that fix is and advise us, is it going to last 30 years based on the maintenance and the fix that they're proposing, or is it going to last 10? This is after the fact. We are not proposing to get in the way of anything they plan on doing to fix it. We're going along with that. Things are working tremendously. I give Mr. Budney a tremendous amount of credit for getting Wayne County to commit to a weekly cadence of meetings. And they tell us, I think they're being very frank to the best of their ability. MDOT's involved with it. There's a lot of reasons why we have tremendous hope that this is going to be a great fix. But what we don't want to do again is be in the position where we just don't know, and we're giving blind faith to Wayne County or anybody else for that matter as to the viability of the proposed fix long-term and the maintenance schedule that goes with it and the inspection schedule that goes with it, because there are a whole bunch of issues. There's 11 piers. I think the proposal may only involve 6. They're 148 years old, even though recent inspections had indicated that the other 5 are in fair to poor condition. The structure, the superstructure itself hasn't been painted in 42 years. And we got some major issues that can cause. And so The whole proposal was to put us in a position where we have an unbiased engineer that reports to us, so we can take whatever appropriate action that we feel suitable. If in fact, our engineer says, well, this should really be addressed, and it's not. I fail to see the logic of not doing that, because if it cost us $100,000, that would be $10 per resident. Right now, it's costing this islanders about $18,000 a day to go over that bridge. That's islanders that normally wouldn't go over that bridge. They would choose to go over the pay bridge, sub 25%. But the other 75% that are going over that bridge, it's about $18,000 or $6.5 million a year. And those are conservative numbers because we got COVID right now, and there's a whole bunch of people not going across the bridge. They're instead working virtually. And by the way, it's the winter. So we got a lot of snowbirds that are going across. These are numbers based on the month of November, December. And they're from our license plate readers. So it doesn't get much more accurate than that. So anyways, I hope the board, as they state tonight, will keep this front and center. I think it's very important to this community. For those of us that made the commitment to do everything we can, I was really disappointed not to see their support tonight to fix our roads and bridges. We can't begin to fix them if we don't know the extent of the damage and problem. So thank you.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Mr. Bundy, if I could, I neglected to mention that the rec commission meeting that was scheduled for this Thursday, January 28th, has been pushed back because of a scheduling conflict to Thursday of next week, February 4th.
All right. Thanks, David. All right. That concludes the second treasurer's report and the trustee reports. Township attorney report. Mr. Assorti.
Mr. Supervisor, just a quick note that, the
Tom froze on us.
I've been in constant contact with the township through the manager and you, of course, about, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're cutting in and out. You froze up there, so I don't know what you were saying. Tom, you're frozen. All right, I'm going to come back. I'm going to go to the manager's report and then come back to Tom, see if he can unfreeze.
I know who my landlord is, so.
Tom, we didn't hear anything you said.
Let me try it again. Is that any better?
Okay, go ahead.
Like I said, I know who my landlord is. Just a quick note that we, of course, so the public understands, we're watching. I know how badly everybody wants to get into regular meetings, and we're talking almost daily about how we can do that, how we can, get the meetings back in place, how we can get the normal functions back in place. We, of course, want to assure the safety of all the employees. So we're continuously looking at that. The same with opening the Township Hall. The manager and I today spoke about some opportunities to maybe see if we can make some modifications. We're working on that. Of course, again, the safety of both the public and the employees is a primary concern. But we want to make sure that we're, the township is accessible as possible to the residents. And with that, the 33rd District Court continues on Zoom hearings. It seems to be working very well. We've changed a couple schedules around so that we can accommodate that. Each of the judges handle it a little bit differently, but we're all getting used to it. And that's working. I think you're going to see in the future that is not going to be an uncommon occurrence for court hearings of that nature to be conducted. It's an interesting time for all of us, and we're learning but at the same time watching on a daily basis. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Now, Mr. Riem, manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. To pick up where Mr. Sorty left off, one of the things that I want to remind everyone is while we're evaluating these state orders and figuring our schedule, the work safety rules, it could change at any time. And that's been what's so, I think, frustrating for everyone because we don't know what one order is going to be from the next. But we are doing everything as a staff to get the work done, and I think we're being very successful in that. I just want to remind that to the residents between email, phone, Dropbox, we're getting everything taken care of, even though we're not technically open to the public, we're there. So again, I just want to stress that, and as things unwind, we'll be able to, we'll report where we are with things and how we're going to be handling it. February, it was mentioned earlier, our next meeting is February 8th, and the meeting schedule as well as February 22nd for that month. So those will be our two business meetings. And I just want to give the board a heads up. Administratively, the finance director and myself put together a very preliminary budget. It was about the general fund. And the general fund includes police, administration, assessing, finance, and the clerk's office. In our first go around, we're $180,000 short. So we've got some work cut out for us, and I know we're getting ready to start in doing our face-to-face administrative budget meeting with the supervisor. So I just wanted to report that this is the process, and this is what, you know, look forward to working hard over the next several months.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like we're going to have to. Yeah, we're gonna have to deal with that. Anything else, Dale?
No, sir. Nothing else.
Thank you very much, sir. My report. I want to give you the bridge update in case you haven't seen it. First of all, I want to say that I am absolutely committed to putting a bridge update out every week to let the residents know where we're at. We do meet with Wayne County every week to get the update. When we'll say when the contractor is signed on to make the repairs on the bridge, that contractor will be part of our meeting every week. So we will be getting good information up front with the deficits that we're looking at. And there is a difference of opinion, a difference of the thought process on how much good that bridge engineer would do us at this point. And that's, I think that's the difference. But as Mr. Heil said, I think it's worth us certainly talking about some more. And I certainly would like to sit down with you, Mike, and discuss it some more. And certainly it's something that can come up in the future. It's not, by no means is it a dead issue. So right now, the bridge, they're working out the last few details on contract language. Something that actually is very important, so both parties know where they stand and what they're supposed to do. So I really don't have any problem with them ironing that out. Hopefully that's been done, and the contract should go to the commission on February 4th. We will see this Wednesday when we have our meeting where we're at on that, and we will report that to you. I do want to mention with the bridge being down, the traffic pattern on Parkway and Meridian being different. I was contacted by a number of residents who brought it to my attention, and I did ask that we contact Wayne County to try and get the traffic light reprogrammed so we have more flow on Meridian and less time on Parkway because of the traffic pattern. So that is being done. So hopefully we will see a difference down in the very short future. And then one final thing, we've talked about this before. Sometime in February, we will be discussing the food truck ordinance. With that in mind, if you have any comment on it, I would like you to send me an email, and Brian will tell us where you can find my address and my email address. Send that to me so that I can put them together and send them to the various board members so that they all have your comments. And when this comes up for discussion, we'll be prepared not only with the ordinance, but also with your thoughts on it. So I'm asking that you send me an email and if you would, get that email into me by next Thursday, which I believe is the 4th. Is that date correct, Brian?
Yeah, that's correct. And I'll make sure I'll post it on the front page of the website, and I'll get it on the app.
Okay, so it'll be on the app and on the website. My email address. Send it to me. The whole board will get all of your comments. Will go to the whole board. I'm just the clearing station. And that's my report for tonight.
Hey, Jim. Hey,
yes,
regarding traffic lights, you guys should look at Grosse Ile Parkway and Chicory too. That one's like seriously favors Grosse Ile Parkway, and there's never anybody coming off the bridge. So
okay, I'm making a note of that. Thanks, Jameson. Yeah, we might as well get that one taken care of too.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. With that, under our new format, we've kind of flip-flopped the two public comments. The second comment, which would be now, is limited to discussion of action items. We had no action items, so there's no public comment at this point for here. So we are at the point of a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None heard. Thank you all very much. Again, our next meeting is February 8th. Thanks a lot, guys.
Have a good night.